Leeds United, one of the most famous clubs in British football history. Champions and winners of titles and trophies in England and in Europe. Leeds have one of the largest, most passionate fan bases in world club football, despite now plying their trade in England's second division, the Championship. At the turn of this century, Leeds went from Champions League heroes to the brink of extinction within a few seasons. Disastrous financial mismanagement and a series of off-field scandals left the club in ruins. Since then, new owners and managers have tried to revive the sleeping giant. Until now, all have failed. But there is new hope in the shape of ambitious Italian entrepreneur, Andrea Radrizzani. His goal is to rebuild the club and fulfill the demands of a worldwide fan base and get Leeds United back into the Premier League, the most prestigious football competition in the world. This is a story that plays out in one of the most extraordinary seasons in this remarkable club's history. This is Take Us Home, Leeds United.
Impossible bets is what he specialized in, but turning the table to his favor. That takes guts, energy, which he has plenty of, stamina. With that, they made a lot of money, and I keep telling him not to waste it on bloody football, because football doesn't make any money. So he said, you don't trust me? I said, yeah, I trust you. You're a smart, young entrepreneur.
I will show him the opposite.
And I said, please, Andrea, for your kid who loves football, make sure that he doesn't hate it when he's big enough to understand that he wasted all your fortune behind.
Andrea Radrizzani was born in Milan and created his fortune, an estimated 450 million pounds, after founding his own global investment company specializing in trading television sports rights.
So I left Milan in 2003. I went to Shanghai, then Tokyo, then Singapore, and then I started to share my time between Singapore and London. So I've been away more than 15 years, or 16 this year. And then this year I decided to come back for 1 year in Milan to stay here with my family so that my son can learn Italian and can go to school here for the first year of school. And kindergarten is only 3 years old. And then, my family is here, and me, I'm up and down between London, Leeds, and Milan. We have a deal with the wife, with Nadine, that if we get promoted, we're going to move Leeds 1 year.
Andrea bought a 50% stake in Leeds United in January 2017, before completing a full buyout 5 months later.
Hey.
Who is this? Who is that?
You still awake? So I told them, this is our football pitch, right? Yeah. Where is your goal? Okay. Show him which football shirt you use when you play. Look, even this one. This is your favorite, huh? This is your favorite. I like to make money, of course. When I work, as a consequence, I think my reward is to make money and be profitable. I take risk. Because at the end it's like a game. One day I'm going back to the dust like everybody, so money doesn't count. I like to invest in things that give me adrenaline, and business is one of them, football is one of them, so I enjoy that. He's really against my investment in football.
No, I'm not against. I think that doing it
The risk is very high.
alone, it took a lot of courage and maybe a little bit too much. That's all. I'm saying that he could have done it with a team, or a group of investors.
Yeah, but nobody follow crazy ideas.
That's true too.
They follow when they're already successful.
I thought there were a lot of crazy guys in Leeds.
When you deliver, they follow.
I thought in the town of Leeds there was enough crazy people for football.
It's a club that is perfectly suited for a one-club city. It's a club that embodies the city and attracts the interest, captures the interest of everybody. It's an incredibly loyal city, and that loyalty has persisted despite the fact that there were so many occasions when the crowds could have dipped to a worrying level, as has happened with other clubs across the country. But the support always seems to be there. It's always ready to come back. And I think it is an institution that the city needs, the city will always need and will always float.
For the amount of fans who go to Ellen Road on a weekly basis and the numbers they get and the people who are from around the world who are watching it live from every country around the world, it's unbelievable. We're a big city with one team in it. Every other big city has a couple of teams in, so there's a divided support, whereas Leeds, everyone's Leeds.
It's truthfully my religion. And that's what I say to my kids. When they say, oh, Mum, you're going to football again, I'm like, yeah, it's my religion. I'm off praising. I'm off to church.
It's reinvigorated my life, my focus. It's all Leeds now. I work, yeah. I have children, I have family, and I have Leeds. Leeds United.
To me, what it means to be a Leeds fan is camaraderie, family, emotion, passion, one team city.
Andrea bought a club that had suffered a humiliating fall from grace. Under legendary manager Don Revie, Leeds established themselves as a dominant force during the 1960s and 70s.
Leeds United, all in white, against the Gunners, Arsenal. Jones as he kicks to Alan Clark, who heads it in.
On the pitch, Captain Billy Bremner was their leader. They became England's top team and were feared and respected across the whole of Europe.
Jack Charlton, Bremner. Oh, beautiful! What a superb goal by Bremner!
After Revie left to become England manager in the mid-70s, Leeds had over a decade in the doldrums before returning to be crowned English champions again in 1992. At the turn of the century, they became a force in Europe again and reached the Champions League semi-finals in 2001. But after overspending and financial mismanagement, Leeds went into freefall. A fire sale of their greatest talent was inevitable. Rio Ferdinand became Britain's most expensive player when he moved to bitter rivals Manchester United for £30 million. And Leeds were forced to sell stars like Robbie Fowler, Jonathan Woodgate and Harry Kewell.
You were never quite sure where the next crisis was coming from, whether the people who were in charge of the club could manage the crisis.
What many considered the most exciting young side in England was ripped apart. Leeds were relegated from the Premier League in 2004 and dropped to the third tier 3 years later. New owners and managers have come and gone, their long-suffering fans convinced they're a cursed club. But after 15 years in the wilderness, hope is returning to Ellen Road.
In terms of a city and a club being combined, or the potential for it to be combined, I don't think there's another city like it.
And
Andrea is someone, he throws himself in literally the deep end and he goes and he grabs everyone. He's someone very approachable and he likes to have contact with people. So either if it's someone really high or someone that has the job as the janitor or in the kitchen that's cooking, he goes and he greets them, he says thank you. And for him it's important because everyone brings value to the club. Everyone works together for the same cause. And I think it's very important that they can feel that they can speak to him as well. And he's not someone up there because he's not that type of person.
When Andrea came in, I didn't know much about him, to be quite honest. But there was no skeletons. You know, you search, you have a look, and you thought, wow, this guy seems clean.
I have to say we've been through a very dark era with the former owners, but Andrea, the new owner, and his team that have come in have been very outward focused.
Andrea's first move is to recruit a Premier League quality management team and put Leeds back on track both on and off the pitch. Spaniard Victor Orta was recruited from championship rivals Middlesbrough and appointed director of football. Victor is now responsible for assembling a squad capable of challenging for promotion to the Premier League.
In all the headlines, in all the history that they are making, obviously, like crazy football fans, I know the history about this kind of club, and was a big challenge to me. I arrived to a club like Leeds United to try back to his real position that was the Premier League.
When you meet Victor, you understand his knowledge on the scouting. I think, yes, he's a database. He's very knowledgeable about everything.
Andrea has recruited a CEO with a Premier League pedigree, former West Ham managing director Angus Kinnear.
It's the best job in football. I genuinely believe it's the best job in football. If we can take Leeds United back to where they belong, I don't think there's a bigger challenge, I don't think there's a bigger prize. It's a club with just such fantastic history, such fantastic potential, so I didn't think twice about it. With Victor and Andrea, we over-index on Latin American and Hispanic passion. I'm definitely the boring Anglo-Saxon who tries to steer through the middle path. But it's a fantastic working environment. You know, they're friends as well as colleagues. I think we all want to achieve success together, and I think the skills are actually well balanced. The way that you work with Victor and with me is Victor tries to spend money, I try to save it and make it.
And we don't speak about football after the games.
And we don't speak about football after the games. That was the critical mistake from last year.
Last year was the new management team's first full season in charge. It was a steep learning curve as Leeds finished 13th in the championship. The board decided more change was needed at the very top. The search was on for a new, world-class head coach, one that could transform the club.
Andrea and Victor suggested his name as somebody that we should be looking at. I had a wry smile because neither of them lack ambition, but sometimes their ideas aren't rooted in reality.
A él no lo motiva ni el dinero ni las comodidades. Lo motivan los grandes objetivos.
Es la manera de manejarse él, lo honesto que es, lo gran técnico que es. Yo creo que es uno de los mejores técnicos del mundo.
In the early 90s, an ex-player of Argentinian side Newell's Old Boys returned to his former club and transformed their fortunes. After winning 2 league titles, he remains a legend to this day.
Para el hincha de Newell es un ídolo fundamental. Es un dios para nosotros.
Bueno, para mí es como un sinónimo de maestro, de un maestro que tuve durante 7 u 8 años en las divisiones juveniles de Newell y en el primer equipo profesional de Newell. La persona que nos enseñó muchísimo. Una persona que nos contagia a casi todo ese equipo las ganas de ser entrenador, de dirigir, de vivir por el fútbol y para el fútbol.
Marcelo Bielsa brought pride and passion back to Newell's Old Boys. Carried shoulder high by his players on winning the 1990 league title, his defiant and expletive Newell's Carajo remains the fans' war cry to this day. He went on to become one of the most respected coaches in world football, leading Argentina to Olympic gold in 2004, transforming Chilean football as national coach and again at club level with Athletic Bilbao. His admirers are many, including Manchester City coach Pep Guardiola and Tottenham Hotspur manager Mauricio Pochettino, who Bielsa signed as a 13-year-old at Newell's Old Boys.
Marcelo Bielsa has got a vision of life which is admirable. The principles that he applies to his day-to-day life. There is an enigma about him, creates an aura, surrounded by pupils, otherwise known as disciples, and that creates a cult of the personality.
Victor and I went over to Buenos Aires. We sat in a hotel with him for effectively 12 hours. What we found very quickly was he's not a man who wanted to be sold to. You know, we felt that we were going to have to explain to him the vision of Leeds and the potential of Leeds, but he got that straight away. He understood it.
Me parece que es una persona que se fija mucho en objetivos, en logros que no sean tan fáciles. Lo fácil quizás lo aburra. A él le interesan los desafíos difíciles, desafíos que tengan que ver también mucho con el corazón que le pueda poner él y las personas que van a trabajar con él. En cuanto a el Leeds, es un grande del fútbol inglés que hace rato que no es grande. Él creo que vio en su imaginación volver a ser al Leeds uno de los grandes de Inglaterra. Y esa motivación y ese objetivo seguramente lo motivó muchísimo para poder intentarlo.
In going for Bielsa, I think it was an admission that they needed to bite the bullet with the head coach. They needed to find somebody with that track record, with that proven ability, or at least that kudos and that aura that could get the club, get a hold of the club and change the culture of it, change the way in which they played, gain the respect of the players, which I think at times over the years has definitely been an issue.
One of my jobs was to get the contract signed and agree the commercial terms, and one of the frustrating things was I couldn't get him to talk or debate or engage in that subject at all.
Él mira mucho los detalles de cada uno de los clubes que dirige y no solamente la parte deportiva o la parte del club Leeds. Estudia la ciudad, estudia la gente, estudia todo lo que rodea a Leeds como ciudad, dónde la gente le interesa ir, qué lee, cómo se mueve la gente por la ciudad. Si no hay una ciudad que lo haga sentir enamorado de la ciudad, no va a ir. Es decir, Bielsa no fue a dirigir el Leeds por el club Leeds. Bielsa fue a dirigir el Leeds por la ciudad en su conjunto.
So even though we were only in Buenos Aires for 24 hours, we shook hands knowing that he was going to be the next Leeds United head coach, but not knowing anything about what the contract was going to contain.
Consideré la fortaleza del proyecto deportivo e institucional, analicé las posibilidades deportivas y bueno, eso hizo que hiciera esfuerzos para ser el que finalmente eligieron. Bueno, los entrenadores no tenemos otra opción que imponer lo que pensamos, porque no se puede convencer proponiendo algo en lo que uno no cree.
He comes with the nickname El Loco, and because you only have the chance really to read about him and to to analyse him in that way before he arrives, you have this picture of a crazy individual, in no way level-headed, loose cannon who could do anything at the drop of a hat. But I think in the flesh and in practice, obsessional is the word. He wants things to be right.
I think he's great. I think he's honestly one of the best in the world. He had a great impact on me, and I hope he promotes, honestly.
He's single-minded in a way that very few head coaches I've seen before are. He keeps the players at arm's length, he keeps the media at arm's length. He strikes me as a guy who has nothing on his mind at any stage of the day apart from football. I think it has been his life for a long time.
All of us were like, well, wow, we're about to work a whole season for one of the best managers. Everybody speaks so highly of him, do you know what I mean? So straight away, like, no matter what he wants done, you say you're standing like, yeah, absolutely no problem.
I thought this could be a spectacular failure. It could be spectacularly brilliant. Do my homework, start to think, wow, this guy's a bit different. There's people talking about him in a quite a special way.
Probably the most honest guy that I've ever met in football. He was very, very obsessed with no cheating, never try to be honest every time you are on the pitch.
Marcelo was very, very specific on the additions we needed to make and was actually much more focused on what he could get out of the existing squad. And so the players that he said would step up, so players who potentially had been written off by the fan base like Liam Cooper and Calvin Phillips, they were specific players that Marcelo said, I will make them the best players in the league.
What do you think of him, John?
What? Bielsa. Oh, I think he's lovely. I'd love to bump into him. He walks round Weatherby sometimes. I'm always going to get us and go to Weatherby. I heard he goes in Costas. I'd like to bump into him and say, I'm Calvin's grandma.
But he were going to Huddersfield as well, and Leeds. Yeah.
I went to Huddersfield first, but I didn't like it, did I?
No.
Because I went to one train session.
He wanted to go to Leeds because Leeds were interested as well at the same time, weren't they? And his heart were at Leeds, wasn't it?
I had like a 6-week trial, and then
scored a few goals and then didn't score.
Scored like 5 goals in like 3 games, and then got signed, and then didn't score for the rest of the season.
I mean, I've always liked Phillips, but I was always unsure if Phillips were going to develop. You know, he's still young, but he's not 18, 19 anymore, so he's in that sort of era now of like, right, I'm going to be early 20s, and being a local lad, you know, he knows what we're all about, he knows what all fans are about, and he is a fan. So he's on pitch doing it for us and for the team. When players come in on loan, you know, we've had a lot of loans over the years, they don't know or feel what we feel about Leeds, but Phillips for me does, because he is. I think he wants Leeds to be where they belong, and I think he's Leeds through and through.
He's like me when I was young, Calvin. He's just a dead, down-to-earth kid. I've played with Calvin for 4 years now, and he's a great young lad. He's got everything to become a top player, and it's all about his application. If he applies himself, he can go on to do massive things in the game. Obviously, he's a Leeds boy as well. He supports Leeds United, like myself and other players, and it'd be great for him, especially being Leeds born. It'll be an unbelievable achievement, and he's got the world at his feet, and to do it at a club he supports and he's been at all his life, it'd be unbelievable for him. Like, he'll be like me. He'll want to do well and make his family proud and make his loved ones proud, and that's the way it should be. At the end of the day, we're all people, and we're all normal people. You get caught up in this stereotype, as a footballer, he's a young lad, he's doing this, he's doing that, but at the end of the day we want to be successful, and we want to get the best out of ourselves, like all footballers do.
Es una buena persona. Los valores que él transmite se sintetizan en que le interesa más el bien de todos que el bien propio. Es generoso para ayudar, lo suficientemente humilde como para aceptar ser ayudado. Esas dos cosas combinadas lo vuelven un ejemplo para todos nosotros.
We've got a really good base, haven't we, local lads. It's just, and he's doing the right thing, it seems, like giving him little minutes here and there, like development. So in a couple of years' time, we should have a good base of players as well as Phillips.
Yeah, English base, Yorkshire lads.
Yeah. The way he's working with players is improving the whole team, definitely. It's not one player now that I'd say is a weakling.
No.
He's a coach that you can give the talent, but he always improve the talent, improve the capacity of the player. There's a lot of example in his career that develop players.
He's very demanding. The way he plays demands you a lot in terms of effort, in terms of cardio capacity. I've seen some of the players going out the pitch vomiting, absolutely exhausted. But after, when you play and you fly, you absolutely fly.
His work this summer has been meticulous to the nth degree. The players have been in at Thorpe Arch through pre-season for 12-hour days, in it around 8 o'clock in the morning, leaving sometime after 7 o'clock. He didn't go as far as he did at Leo, where he had accommodation and bungalows built at their training ground so the players could sleep, but they've been there all hours.
Obviously, you can see his reputation. Yeah, he's kind of crazy when you look at him from the outside, and he is kind of crazy when you with him at the time. And I don't know whether it's because obviously I don't understand the language that he's speaking.
Absolutely fastidious about body fat. Owen Luke Ayling spoke to us and said that he considered himself to be a pretty skinny, lean player, but Bielsa's first advice to him was to lose 4 kilograms.
Every morning, like, we're trying to make weight in the morning, which can get tiresome, you know, like you come home and you just want to have a little takeaway or something and you can't bother to cook, but then you think, oh, I've got to weigh in the morning.
We are a very young squad, but I think coming under the new regime and stuff, it's made the lads become experienced while still being young, and we're very lucky in the way we have got a young team which is willing to learn.
He's a breath of fresh air, really. Since he's come into the club, I've acted like a sponge. I started making notes actually just on things that I'm learning and taking from him.
The way he used to tell us that the best way to defend is to keep attacking, the best way to get the victory is to score more goals and more goals and more goals.
He has raised everybody's game. And this is not just the players, in the staff, in the offices, even the fans. Everybody is right now very switched on, clued on, or at least trying to understand what he's doing, but really just giving extra. I felt, number one, that he's doing the biggest, most important thing one single individual can do with a football club of the stature of Leeds United. He's changing the culture of the club. For me, it's a reminder that football is not about the results. Football is about enjoying the work that you put in, the day-to-day, enjoying the people that you cross paths with.
When you've made the type of commitment we'd made to secure Marcelo, it would have been very short-sighted to not give him the tools he felt were needed to get us promoted. He takes a very measured and sensible approach. So rather than being a manager who makes, who has a list of 10 players he wanted to sign, Marcelo was very, very specific on the positions that needed to be strengthened. And then when Victor presented him with the options, he was very specific on the choices he wanted to make. So. Actually, it felt like we were working in tandem and in partnership with the manager, rather than it can often feel like you're working against them to secure targets which were really going to strengthen us. So I think the buys that we made showed ambition. They required financial commitment, but I think they were pretty judicious at the same time.
Leeds decide to invest heavily in a proven marquee striker, Patrick Bamford, who signs from promotion rivals Middlesbrough in a deal worth up to £10 million, the club's most expensive signing for 17 years.
He says, Leeds really want you. He said, Bielsa, he says, I'll tell you now, he's crazy. He's got something about him, but he's one of the most respected managers in the world. And he said, they've been looking at different strikers, and he said, he's pointed out that you're the one he wants. I said, okay. I said, so that's like, obviously I'm smiling down the phone. I'm like, all right, okay. I said, I don't think that Middlesbrough will let me go.
Victor had obviously worked with him before, but when we met him, we knew he was just what we needed. He was somebody who wanted to play for Leeds United, shoulder the burden of being the club's number 9, and wanted to be the first choice striker.
Patrick, he's arriving in the key moment for one key player of the season.
And then Victor, obviously, and he gave me a big hug and like embraced me. And he was like, yes, finally. He says, I remember exactly what he said. He said, if I wasn't before, I'm definitely now the most hated man in Middlesbrough. He's like, I just stole their main guy. And yeah, there was the documents to sign, and I remember he took me to see the gaffer. All he said to me, he tapped me on the shoulder, good luck. I was like, cheers.
Left-back Barry Douglas, who helped Wolverhampton Wanderers gain promotion to the Premier League last season, signs in a £3 million deal too.
It can be a daunting experience walking into a new dressing room, but what I will say is the guys here were really open, not just with me, with new staff, with other players, so it was really easy to adapt quickly and get to business and feel involved. I met Victor in Birmingham. We just had a bit of lunch, a bit of chat about football, nothing too serious or formal. It was more a get-together and see how their plans were for this year, and I kind of went from there. I was optimistic and happy what the journey was going to bring and the challenge ahead, so yeah, we signed for Leeds.
The Championship is a grueling 46-game season and is considered one of the toughest football competitions in the world. The teams that finish first and second are automatically promoted to the Premier League. The teams finishing third to sixth must enter a playoff series with a one-match final played at the iconic Wembley Stadium in London. The winners of the playoff final are promoted to the Premier League, which is worth around £170 million. It is the most lucrative sporting fixture on the planet. Leeds' first game of the Championship is at Elland Road against Stoke City, who played in the Premier League last season and are favourites to finish top.
Coming up first game against Stoke, it's one of them things where you think they've just come down. Are they going to do us in? First game of the season, if they do us in 4-5-0, what's going to happen there? Bielsa, what, 5 games in goes?
What normally happens with Leeds is we'll get off to a good start, and then before Christmas we'll absolutely mess it up and finish 14th, which could happen.
Point against Stoke in the first game of the season would be a good start to the season for me. They are #1 favourites to go straight back up, aren't they? With the money that they've got and the players that they've got that they've retained. I think the best we can hope for, in all honesty, is a draw.
It's the start of the season. I'm always optimistic. We've got Marcelo, who's just come in. I like what I see and what I've read is giving me visions of Don Revie.
Decir eso antes que comience la competencia es un poco arriesgado. Naturalmente es un rival poderoso.
Well, obviously we all want to get promoted. We all want to go back to the promised land. And it's time we were back where we should be.
Very, very nervous prior to Stoke. It was exactly the fixture I wouldn't have chosen to have. I thought they'd be the strongest team in the division.
I'm a pessimist. I'll be optimistic after the last game of the season. I'm superstitious that way. Yes, sir. Next, please.
A little bit tense, but
we can do it. We can do it. We're going to go up. It's about time. They can do this. Come on, Leeds.
Number 2, Luke Ayling. Number 3, please.
Leeds United has a new king. He's from Argentina. As Marcelo Bielsa makes that first walk down the tunnel to get the full Elland Road experience. 34,000 here packed and expectant. Will Leeds be mid-table mediocrity once again? Or will their new leader take them to real promotion potential? Well, they're up against Stoke City, the promotion favourites, and we're about to get underway.
From the first whistle, Leeds tear into Stoke.
It's Roof so close, beaten away by Butland and scrambled clear by Stoke. Somehow it remains 0-0.
And look a side transformed from last season.
Saiz for Leeds. Vickers onside, this is the chance, and he scores, and Mateus Klick gets Leeds United and Marcelo Bielsa off to the dream start after just 15 minutes. What a start, they lead 1-0.
Bielsa has a vision for how the game should be played, and his players are actioning his plan to perfection.
Alioski has Hernandez, Hernandez is going to strike, and it's in at the near post. Leeds United are now 2 up against Stoke City. Hernandez celebrates, and they simply cannot believe what they're seeing here. At half-time, it's 2-0, and this has been an outstanding start for Marcelo Bielsa and this Leeds United side.
At the start of the second half, Stoke begin to compose themselves.
That looks clumsy, and a penalty awarded. And a Phobie straight down the middle, halves the arrears. Stoke are back in it.
Last season, Leeds might have buckled after such a setback. But this is a new Leeds United.
Barry Douglas to deliver. In goes Cooper. Oh, what a header. And Liam Cooper, the captain, steps up just when the skipper is needed to restore a 2-goal advantage. Leeds United now 3-1 ahead against Stoke City. What a start for Leeds United. They have absolutely crushed Stoke City by 3-1.
Massive, massive. I hadn't seen Leeds United like that for years.
I thought he played really well today. I was a bit surprised. I thought with the team we picked, didn't fancy our chances, but they really excelled. So yeah, I'm very pleased.
Great result, fantastic. Couldn't imagine anything better. Great game, played very well. 3 points, second in the league. We're going up.
I think it shows what happens when you've got a world-class manager. You know, that team, with the exception of Douglas, was available to us all through last season. And, you know, some of those players, I've never seen them play like that before. Liam Cooper looked like a different player. Roof looked superb. Phillips was awesome in that midfield. So I don't know what he's been doing with them over the last 6 weeks, but he's paying off. And I didn't expect that, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season.
It was a beautiful day. The performance was outstanding. The crowd was sold out and was fierce. Ellen Road was properly fierce. And it was the best feeling coming away from there thinking, hang on, this is going to happen.
And after the momentous Stoke victory, Leeds starts the season, begins to truly lift off. Next in their sights, Derby County.
Hernandez into the Poland international Klick. He's lining up one. Oh, what a strike! And that's 2-2 for Mateus Klick, and he gets Leeds off again to the perfect start. Alioski, drifting cross. Up between them goes Roof. Oh, that's an imperious header. And Kamal Roof gets his season off to a scoring start.
Leeds take on and dismantle promotion contender after promotion contender. Norwich City are trounced at home.
Oh, lovely move this. Here goes Alioski, and he's driven it through the keeper. This could well be the result that makes the rest of the championship sit up and take note. Leeds United could well be the real deal as they head towards life in the Premier League under Marcelo Bielsa.
El más valioso es la alegría que le podemos provocar a aquellos que tienen dificultad para acceder a momentos felices por otro camino que no sea el fútbol.
Mid-September, and Leeds take on Preston North End at Ellen Road. It's an opportunity for home fans to enjoy the Bielsa-inspired, all-action style that is fast becoming their trademark.
Leeds are in again here. Tyler Roberts at the cop end, looking to lob home. Oh, what a way to open the account for Leeds United. Tyler Roberts with a really calm and composed finish over the keeper. There really is no stopping them now. Said looking for Klick. Roberts alone in the centre, and he's got a third. 2 for Tyler Roberts. Leeds United cruising to a 3-0 victory, and they're showing every bit of their promotion credentials once again. The board believe it, the players believe it, and now the Leeds United supporters are believing it as well.
After 8 games, Leeds are undefeated in the Championship and top of the league. But there is a long, twisting road ahead. And what is about to unfold will be one of the most dramatic seasons in this club's history.
Do you think we should let Aston Villa start?
Absolutely not.